That's not a bad idea.
What?
Making a girl. Actually making a girl.
This is Wyatt and Gary.
I'd give her warm digits mammary glands.
Something's about to change their world. Something out of this world.
She's alive! Alive!
What would you little maniacs like to do first?
It's all in the name of science. Weird science.
If you want to be a party animal, you have to learn to live in the jungle.
Not us.
Not here. No way.
She is turning their lives,
Trust me for once, will you?
What is going on?
Gary, I don't know.
their minds, and their house upside down.
It's seriously affecting your sex life.
It's completely unnatural,
Do you realize it's snowing in my room?
totally unbelievable,
What's going on?
and definitely weird.
Hi, dudes.
They went from zeros to heroes in one fantastic weekend.
That's so good.
Universal Pictures presents a John Hughes film, Weird Science.
It's purely sexual.
Hello, I'm Katie, and welcome back to Retromade, your pop culture rewind. Today, we are booting up to 1985 for Weird Science, a teen fantasy where two nerds use a computer, a doll, and a lightning storm to create the woman of their dreams. It's chaotic, cringy, and peak John Hughes in all the best and weirdest ways. Returning to the show, we have Chad, along with new to the show, Russell, but both from Retro Movie Roundtable. Thank you both for joining me for my season 2. What have you guys been up to on Retro Movie Roundtable lately?
Well, we turned 300 episodes, so that's pretty exciting. So we're in our 8th season, and we
Russell
hit the 300
ruined
mark.
the 300th episode.
Yeah, Chad kept saying we had to cover the movie 300 for 300, and I kept trying to avoid it because I don't love it as much as everybody else. But it still worked out, and I think we had fun. I tried to stay positive anyway. But Retro Movie Roundtable, we're still covering movies that are 10 years or older, and we go all the way back for as far as whoever knows how long. So we've even covered a few silent movies along the way. Largely, we hit the 90s and 80s, like where you're spending your time here on Retromade.
They're the best, in my opinion, but I mean, I'm not biased or anything.
It's the demographic. It works.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, but we also we'll hit everything in between. So
Chad joined me last season for Ghost.
Yes. Yeah, that was a lot of fun with Lizzie.
Yes. And you guys will have to go check out Retro Movie Roundtable because yours truly has guested on their show just once? No.
twice, Mystic Pizza and Willy Wonka,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and soon
I
to
forgot
be
about Mystic Pizza.
and
Yeah.
soon to be
Mhm.
Rocky.
Ooh, is that the one that you chose?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So you guys go check it out. I'm biased, obviously. Mystic Pizza, great movie. Willy Wonka, great movie. And I'm like maybe one of the biggest Rocky fans ever. So come check us out over on Retro Movie Roundtable. All right, you guys. Season 2, we have a wheel that we spin for the time capsule. So let's open the time capsule from August of 1985. And if you're counting, yes, that is 40 years ago, you guys. 40.
It feels bad. Yeah.
It's the year of my birth, so it feels bad for me too, Chad.
40 years ago, I'm going to share the wheel and spin on your behalf. Now, we did already cover 1985 in the Breakfast Club episode. So we're going to spin the wheel. If we came to a category we already covered, we'll just spin again. We have back in the headlines. All right. Which milestone in reproductive technology occurred in 1985 following a groundbreaking medical procedure that resulted in the world's first child conceived outside of the womb?
Oh, man.
Well, it wasn't me.
Not in August. No.
I remember this being like, remember the first blank blank baby.
Test tube?
Test tube baby.
Okay. Yeah.
I was really reaching there. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The first test tube baby. Now, I know you guys are a little young, but,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I was already born. I was 4 here.
Not in a test tube.
Not
No?
not in a test tube. Which criminal known for a string of terrorizing crimes in California was finally apprehended after eluding authorities for months?
1985? That wasn't
85.
Bundy, was it?
That's late for Manson, isn't it? So
Yeah, if I recall correctly, it was like the neighborhood kind of helped capture him. I don't
I'm
know if you guys
terrible
are
with
into
these
true
murders.
crime.
No, I'm really actively avoid true crime because I like to just think that things are okay.
We tag in Lizzie.
Yeah, I
I'm a
don't do-
junkie.
Uh-huh.
So I've seen the documentary about it. It's Richard Ramirez.
I don't
I've
even.
never
Yeah,
even
that's the
heard
first.
that name.
That's a new one on me. Yeah.
Okay, well, if you're not true crime, then okay. You should get this one. Who became the general secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union in 1985?
Is this Gorbachev?
What's his first name?
Mikhail?
Mikhail.
Yes. Okay. All right. One more from this
You
category.
didn't ask
and
me
then
which
we'll
side of his head his birthmark is on. Or
Oh, geez. Do you know?
I do share a birthday with him though, so I.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
It's a weird bit of trivia.
Yeah.
I know.
That's.
I had to do a
um,
history paper on my things that happened on your
Oh.
birthday. So
Oh,
Oh,
I was like,
okay.
how do you even know that? Okay, interesting. Okay, 1985, the FBI took action against a powerful group of criminals in New York. Who were they?
the criminals
I got-
or the
I got
Mhm.
nothing.
The powerful group of criminals.
the sticky bandits.
Gotti family?
I don't know.
You're closer, Chad. It's much more vague. It is the 5 mafia families.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You guys aren't very good at
No.
this category.
No, I
Let's-
like to think things are okay in the world, so I avoid knowing things that are bad.
Let's spin again and see. Let's see. Retro runway. If one material dominated 1985, what was it?
Spandex?
Good guess, but no.
Oh man,
Chad?
Velcro?
Also a good guess. No. You guys are thinking too hard. It's denim.
Denim. Okay.
denim never goes away. Oh,
I know. Jeans were everywhere, but they weren't just pants. They were jackets,
They were, yeah.
skirts,
I had a
even
jacket.
jumpsuits. Acid wash and stone wash denim became especially popular, adding a grunge twist to the classic fabric. Denim jackets were practically essential, worn oversized and adorned with pins and patches. Do you guys remember that?
Flare.
Your
Yeah.
jacket with
Seen
all
the
the pins and
pictures.
patches.
Oh, yeah.
You had to have
Well,
enough
you don't
pieces of
remember
flare.
that because you were babies or not even born yet.
Yeah.
I had a jean jacket, definitely. I mean, I didn't put a lot of flare on it, but I mean, it was around.
Flare.
It carried over. Yeah. I definitely had
yeah.
some denim outfits.
Plus, we're in the middle of the country. We're not on the coasts, so it takes a little longer for things to get to.
I
does,
definitely had plenty of shares of jean shorts. I don't know what point those became not cool, but I'll say that I had jorts.
Oh, yeah.
Shorts.
Yeah. That lasted well into like early 2000s, I feel like.
hmm Now, I will say it says double denim. Yes, denim on denim was no longer a fashion faux pas, but a sought after look, with celebrities and everyday people alike rocking this style.
Just reminds me
Mhm.
of Super Troopers. What's with the Canadian tuxedo?
Yeah. All right, let's do one more. Because there's a lot to get into with weird science. Ooh, this should be fun if we haven't covered it already.
Russell's worst decade for music.
Boombox bangers. Okay, you guys, these are the 5 top songs for the whole year of 1985. I will give you clues, but do you have any guesses?
Something from Prince, probably. I know that was 84.
Nothing from Prince.
Nothing from Prince in 85. Wow.
I mean,
I was gonna say
he was
it's-
probably in the top 10, but not the top 5.
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper?
Great guess. Somebody very similar.
Is this Aha, Take on Me, maybe?
No.
That would be, yeah. From
There are 2 songs in the top 5 from the same band or group. The number one song, here's your clue, a saxophone riff that became iconic paired with a ballad of regret propelling 2 British pop stars into global superstardom. What was the name of the song?
Was that Careless Whisper?
It was, Chad. I'm impressed by the guess, given that clue.
I mean, the saxophone is just, that's iconic.
And that is Wham! Featuring George Michael.
Does that hurt you, Russell?
I didn't have
Carel's
them,
Whisper's
sorry.
so good.
Russell and Wham do not go together.
I prefer the Seether version, but don't throw things at me.
The group Wham! Also had the number 3 song overall in 1985. Any guesses?
Does it Wake Me Up?
Wake Me Up Before You Go. Yeah.
Oh,
good
it
job.
is that. Yeah.
So that the number 1 and number 3 Wham! Okay, number 2, a dance anthem of innocence and passion where a singer with a revolutionary fashion sense introduces a bold personal declaration of new love.
Madonna?
Yes, what's the song?
Material Girl?
Well,
Bold personal declaration of love.
I would have guessed Like a Virgin, but I think it's
Like a Virgin.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
Like a Virgin. Okay, the number 4 song, a heartfelt power ballad that merged rock with emotional yearning, its title becoming a metaphor for the search for deeper connection. It's a good song.
Power ballad looking for deeper connection. So it's not
Group is Foreigner.
Studio.
The group is Foreigner.
Foreigner.
Is that helping you at all?
I mean, they had Cold as Ice, but that wasn't.
I want to know what love is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Foreigner.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now this last one I wouldn't get because I'm just very unfamiliar, but maybe you guys will get it. The number 5 song for 1985, a funk-infused song that merged soul and pop with a forward-thinking sound, giving a legendary vocalist her most memorable hit.
Funk.
Funk and yeah, I'm thrown off by the funk.
It'll make sense once I say it, but
Yeah, the Hers making me go to Whitney Houston or Tina Turner. Or now I got to get the funk in there.
Tina
Gosh,
Turner with Rolling Down the River would sort of make sense.
it's not
that's
Tina
so
Turner.
much earlier. Yes, that's not even 80s. That's
Yeah.
before that. Gosh, Cyndi Lauper, the funk thing. It's really throwing me off.
Mhm.
Taking me out of all of my
I know.
female 80s artists. Madonna's not going to fit that.
No.
Uh,
We give up?
I give up.
I don't know. Who's the funk female?
Chaka Khan.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I feel for you. I never would have got that. I'm very
No.
unfamiliar with her. So, but yeah, I Feel for You by Chaka Khan. All right. You guys did pretty good on the rest of them. So nice. Thank you for playing with me, even
We
though
came
you were
back.
far too young to remember, if at all. Chad, were you not born yet in 1985?
84 for me. So
84 and
Yeah.
85 for Russell.
So
okay.
you should have done a little better than me on that, Chad.
Yeah. I mean,
I did better on the music than you.
You did.
Which
You
I would
did.
not have won that bet. Russell is our music guy.
This season, I'm not going to ask you about Patrick Swayze or Kurt Russell, Chad.
Oh,
That's a shame because we're crazy for Swayze.
Oh, I know.
John
miss-
Hughes, I love.
Yeah, John Hughes. What do you guys think? What's your history? How did you first discover him? All that stuff.
First discover him. Chad, do you want to go first?
I feel like First Discovery was on like TBS reruns. They
Mm-hmm.
just did John Hughes marathons. And so you run into the National Lampoons. I didn't really associate him with Home Alone until we wound up covering it on Retro Movie. So we covered that. And I'm like, oh, he was a producer behind this. So getting to come accustomed to that, but Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, all of that was just, you can't even find it anymore. I don't know if they do it anymore, but it used to be an all-day thing, and you would just catch whatever you could.
For me, I think the first one I probably saw was probably Mr. Mom, but I definitely didn't associate it as being like a anybody's effort necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Home Alone was a big deal for people of my age group, and like a lot of people would say that it was their favorite movie back when it came out. So Home
Yeah.
Alone was a big one. Uncle Buck was probably where I'm starting to pick up the name and starting to make connections and start to say this is somebody. And then
Mm-hmm.
later down the line, I didn't come to Ferris Bueller's until like as a teenager probably, which is fine because I think you appreciate it more then anyway.
Yep.
So Ferris Bueller and Breakfast Club. I think Breakfast Club is where it's just like, this dude's a good writer. This is
Right.
really, really good. And then you start to connect everything. Actually, Beethoven was another one of those early ones I mentioned. I left off as a kid, so I don't think of like Baby's Day Out, Dennis the Menace, and like Beethoven, some of the later stuff. So I probably actually came to some of that stuff even earlier. But when it all started to connect was when by the time I got to Breakfast Club and like Uncle Buck and stuff like that, I was going back as a teenager and getting them. I mean, I didn't realize National Lampoon was him, her Vacation. So, I mean, everything he's done makes me happy. Maybe until towards the end, I think some of the family entertainment kind of things were semi-disposable for the late 90s, but certainly through the 80s and into the early 90s, he was absolutely on fire. Everything he does is outstanding. Amazes me that he's such a fast writer. Every time we've covered one of his movies, he like writes these things in just a week. And then this one, I think this what we're covering today is 2 days time, which is amazing. So, I mean, makes me feel unproductive. Like I can't get much stuff done. So, I mean, 2 days.
I know. I'm like, I need a nap just listening to that.
Yeah.
I'm an architect and I've been working on the same building for 3 years and it's still not built yet. So, I mean, it's amazing. So
Russell gets paid to drag his feet though. So.
Yeah, John Hughes, man. Without further ado, I think we should get into weird science.
Let's get weird.
This came out August 2nd, 1985. Breakfast Club came out in February of 1985. This sucker came out 6 months later, and those are two of my favorite Hughes movies. So I am just like, wow. It's just wild that these two movies came out in such close succession. And apparently Hughes was not very happy during the filming of this movie because it interfered with him working on The Breakfast Club. But he agreed to direct it because Universal gave him a deal where he could also direct what he valued more, which was The Breakfast Club. So that was the deal he made. This is PG-13, and it has a 6.6 on IMDb. And he both directed and wrote on this movie. And there are a few other writers, which is a little unusual, but this is, like you guys said, another instance. We hear these stories all the time about him writing so quickly. Were you familiar with the other two writers, Al Feldstein and William Gaines, at all?
I've not done a deep dive for them, no.
I had never even heard the names before, but they're both known for sci-fi and horror comics and also writing for Mad Magazine and a couple episodes from Tales from the Crypt. So they must be collaborators. Because they have a very similar writing history.
That makes sense because this was a comic adaptation, right? It was like a 1950s comic.
Yeah, Made from the Future was Feldstein's contribution, right? So that comic strip that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Or there's a comic book. I actually didn't. But yeah, it's a comic, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you guys haven't seen Weird Science in 40 years, or if it's been a while, I know it's been a while for Chad. How long has it been since you saw this, Russell?
I definitely saw it in high school. And I thought that, like I caught it on TV. I thought it was more edited maybe than it was. Yeah. I saw it again, uncut in college and definitely was still pleased at how it held up not on TV. And I just probably haven't come back to it and it's certainly been, 15 years or something like that. In my head with all the changes and what is funny and the line of comedy is always moving and the line of comedy has moved a great deal since this movie came out. So I was a little bit worried for it coming back to it saying, has this not held up or is it going to be full of things that you wouldn't do today? Or is it cringy? And I was kind of relieved and said, you know what? There's a lot you wouldn't get away with doing in that same way today, but it's also it's not egregious. It's not like it's
no 16 Candles egregious.
Right. But But Hughes has this warmth to his
Mhm.
writing that we've
Mhm.
talked about. We talked about the speed. It's funny, but it's not just funny. He makes you have positive feelings and connect to the characters. So there's a positive quality when you watch a lot of Hughes's work, that, you know, his ability to make you feel the feels. And even though this is a total absurdist movie, there's still growth within the characters. And
Oh, I mean,
yeah.
there's a moral aspect to
I
it,
know.
or maybe not maybe moral's not the right word, but I mean, coming of age. Let's see, you know, that's Hughes is notorious for that, but there's definitely some learnings that happen, some life advice that is learned from this in a very strange way. But very unlike you guys, I'm giving away my thoughts, but I absolutely adore this movie. This is one of my favorite movies. I think it's my second favorite John Hughes movie. I literally owned it on VHS and then DVD, and now I own a digital version of it. So this is one of those that I just keep buying over and over again. But if you guys are not like me and it's been a minute, the description of Weird Science is two high school nerds use a computer program to literally create the perfect woman who promptly turns their lives upside down. All right, let's get into the cast here. Anthony Michael Hall, very common Hughes collaborator. What do you guys think, Michael Anthony Hall?
Oh, he's wonderful. I mean, him and John Hughes just go together. It's funny that he had to get out of the National Lampoon role of Rusty just to do this movie, then kind of creates that curse of Rusty's a different person every single time, which is a fun gag, I guess.
It is.
But yeah, he's wonderful. And Russell had linked that interview of the cast reuniting, and just to see what a good time he had and the camaraderie he had with his castmates, that was just wonderful. Because a lot of times you revisit these movies, and I don't think we've ever had it on a John Hughes movie we've covered, but people are complaining, oh, the set was awful, or co-workers were awful. It seemed just everyone had a fondness for each other.
Great point. It was nice to see that. Thank you for sending that, Russell. We'll talk a little bit more about that reunion clip that you shared of the three main castmates.
Anthony Michael Hall is young in this, and it's nice to see somebody who's actually young and not a 28-year-old playing an 18-year-old. I think that there's something really nice and refreshing about that. Even though this movie's older, it's hard to say it's refreshing, but it is cool to see actual young people playing young roles. And for a young person, to what I want to say is Anthony Michael Hall has a little bit of his awkwardness still in him from his adolescence. And he also has a good sense of humor that is already developed. So he is funny. I can see why he goes on to be on Saturday Night Live. He gets a very short run, but I can see why they wanted to bring him on. I believe he's still the youngest person to have ever been on Saturday Night Live as a cast member. And I can see why Hughes kept coming back to him. He has good facial reactions. He has good sarcasm. He seems cool, but even though he's in this moment, he's supposed to be nerdy. So there's a sense of warming up to him that even though he's a nerd, he's getting picked on and ostracized and made fun of. He still seems very relatable and likable. And he's definitely the cooler of the two of them in this. And the humor hinges more heavily on him than it does his co-star, Ian Mitchell-Smith. So without Anthony Michael Hall here, none of this is going to work as well. He's really, really important, because if you want to get down into what's your most important casting, I think, Kelly LeBrock is like the image of what we will all remember from this movie, but Anthony Michael Hall responding to and getting into all this stuff, he does big eyes really well. He has these, big reactions, whether it's him going out and getting drunk and talking. I guess this is still called jive talk or whatever.
Yeah, it's cringeworthy.
That's the part that I don't think would hold up as well today, but I still have to admit it may not hold up as well today, but I still think it's funny. So, he fully commits to it, and he is the one that I think is kind of the axle of this wheel that this all basically has to work on.
Oh man.
Really good points. I will say he plays Gary, and then I always thought Wyatt, the name of the actor who plays Wyatt, was Ian as well. But it just looks like it because it's a capital I next to a lowercase L.
Mm-hmm.
It's Island. His name is Island.
It's my mistake.
Yeah. I only learned that now that I'm like digging into Weird Science. It's Island Mitchell-Smith plays Wyatt. And to your point, about Anthony Michael Hall. Now, and I don't mean this to degrade Island at all, but there's a reason Anthony Michael Hall was a star and Island wasn't. Their acting abilities were vastly different. And I thought we saw it in several points throughout this movie that Gary, it was just like, yeah, on fire. And Wyatt was just kind of there to play off a little bit. And I don't know, Wyatt just kept screaming, Lisa, oh my God. I didn't love his acting as much. But Island made $150,000 in 1985 for making
Nice.
Weird Science, which is, I don't know how much everybody else made. I just thought that was really interesting. He was born in New York and he was more of a dancer. So he was in ballet, enrolled in dance classes, eventually got a scholarship to the American Ballet. And while he was at the ballet, he was discovered by a casting agent for the director, Sidney Lumet. Is it Lumet or Lumet?
I've heard Lumet, I feel like.
I thought so
We've covered
too,
him.
but anyway.
I feel
anyway,
like this
and-
is our Swayze connection, though, the whole ballet background.
Great point. So he was signed to play Timothy Hutton's character as a young boy in the film Daniel. And then that led to a major role in The Wild Life, both in the early 80s. And then this. And then he did not continue acting very much after that. And he's a professor. He's in higher education now.
Love that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, two guys on the show with me. I mean, I could hardly contain myself at the beauty of Kelly LeBrock. I mean, wasn't she almost like, there are just no words. She's like perfect. Was it just me? I don't know. I thought Kelly LeBrock looked perfect in every way.
She's very pretty, but I think what does it is the accent. Just her manner of speech there's something about it that's just sexy, but still calming. She's this chaotic force amongst the boys' lives, but she's very in control of it the entire time. That's really hard to do.
And she's motherly in
Yes.
a weird way. She's motherly to them. Like it's a strange, that's how it's, because otherwise she's 23 years old, or her character, Lisa, and these boys are 15.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow it's not that creepy, or is it? I don't know. Like it never could happen the reverse. Like the reverse could never happen. But in some weird way, it kind of worked somehow because she was sort of acting as their like mother, fairy godmother type. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Is it
she's
creepy?
more of. I had this problem when we revisited Big, because Tom Hanks is a child, and you wind up sleeping with a child, and that revelation doesn't really land on the female character. And you've got two realizations: magic's real, and I've just slept with a child. I'm like, okay, this movie doesn't work for me as much. This one, I think it works out better because she's at the heart of it. It's an AI program. She's like a manifestation of Alexa now, so you can get past the shower scene, because the shower scene is very early on. It's like, this probably isn't great, but she's not real. I mean, she's real to the touch and everything else, but she's a computer program. She's not a adult woman. So I think that makes things funnier when she's going on and she's got the little tiny underwear and she says, do you think a 15-year-old boy would like these? And she's, do you have a matching bra? And it's this elderly woman at the checkout that's just scowling at her. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But they do sleep with her. I mean, it's not shown on screen, but they do both sleep with her, correct?
Yeah. Wyatt, she has that illusion of you tapped out after 10 seconds of my gymnastics routine.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's plausible deniability, but
Because at that scene, she says something about they're arguing about Chet and him standing up to Chet. And she's like, you're letting this affect your sex life. I don't know. And then later when they're talking to the perfume girl, they call her their lover.
Sex
You
bot,
know, I
actually.
don't know.
yeah.
Yeah. And then they do kiss her, you know, like passionately.
It's funny because if you inspect any of it, it's rife with problems.
Right.
But it's what you call absurdist. I think it's one of these things where none of it is serious. And the more serious that the others take it, whether it be Chet, the grandparents, or the people around them, the more surreal it becomes. And
Mm.
when you go back and even cover an art like a Marx Brothers movie, Groucho is saying preposterous things that make absolutely no sense whatsoever, but they're taken with a great deal of seriousness by those around them. And that is funny then, and it is funny in the 80s, and it's still funny now. So I think that it is established very early when the boys make Lisa, this is going to be off the wall crazy. They've hacked into a high security thing like a la War Games, whereas that's the whole plot for War Games. But here it's just like a little footnote of we see them, we need more power. They go to a station and stuff like that. It's Frankenstein, it's War Games, and it all happens in like a 30-second clip. There is music and there's cues that go into this that say, we're not taking this seriously.
Right.
And we're all in on it as an audience. So no, I think there's something that you said, if you make a drama movie where it's like, I'm in love with a 15-year-old boy or something like that, now we're having a different time. But from the get-go, Oingo Boingo said you shouldn't take this seriously. The music, everything is done to say that we're here for humor. And given that, it is all ridiculous. It is poking fun at the teenage male fantasy of what if you did get everything you wanted? And we're remarkably simple creatures, and then that's funny. That's a funny thing in its own right.
I did appreciate the contrast, though. That was when they're designing Lisa and they talk about chest size and they go on the smaller side. But then you get Robert Downey Jr.'s, and the first thing they say is large breasts, blow it up. And that hacking scene, we covered Hackers a couple years ago. It made Hackers look futuristic for hacking. This one was, they're playing some little spiral tunnel game. There's no internet. Like, none of this is possible.
I really thought the graphics were pretty good for 1985, though. I really enjoyed it, including like the like lightning magic effect that's so
the
80s.
purple.
Yeah, I love it. Now, I, as a person who does not have giant breasts, really appreciated, even as a kid, the contrast. Wyatt and Gary choose, they say something about, now here's also where the edit for TV comes into play. They say something about anything more than a handful is risking a sprained tongue. Tongue, right?
Thumb, yeah.
Either way. and I was like, great. I appreciate that. But the TV version says, they don't say a sprained tongue because that's inappropriate. They say a waist, like anything more than a handful is a waist or something like that.
Okay.
And so I was like, hey, I like that. And then, so whoever, if it was John or somebody else, must also feel the same way about breasts, because when Robert Downey Jr. and the guy who plays Max, who's super hot, and they're like, oh, bigger boobs. And then they say I don't know if it was Wyatt or Gary, says something about, oh, you like them on the knees, like meaning, oh, just give her a few years and they'll be down on her knees if you choose somebody that got a gigantic. So I was like, attaboy. I liked it.
There are people who pull off every beauty at every figure, height, and so it's sexiness is not just some specific dimensions that go into a computer. So, but
yeah, but the point for this is, like you said, this is a 15-year-old boy's fantasy.
Yeah,
like what would your woman look like? You know what I mean? Like,
but back to what Chad said, a lot of it's her attitude. She's remarkably confident, patient.
Mm-hmm.
She's not like demanding, like she's pushing them to make them better. Yes. There's a mentorship quality. Kelly LeBrock said, I'm like Mary Poppins with boobs.
Yes.
And
yes,
I think that's something we've all been touching on of like why this movie works. She's helping them grow. Ultimately, they end up getting the girlfriends that they wanted. They had no possibility of achieving, and they didn't have it within themselves to obtain that level. And she's not only helped give them the handicap, the head start, maybe even run half the race for them, but she's also helped them grow to where that they can now do this.
Yeah, that's
the self-confidence. Yep.
That's definitely the thing that rings true, at least for teenage boy status. I certainly wasn't in the Robert Downey Jr. and Max club, so I was that awkward guy that probably needed somebody to inspire confidence. And part of the fantasy is, okay, this beautiful, sweet girl is with a jerk, and if I knew how to talk to her, maybe I could be her boyfriend. That's That's more of the fantasy that this approaches it from, and it's relatable for somebody like me, seeing these jerks, but they're really good looking and they're confident, and they come to the realization at the end, Wyatt and Gary are willing to stick up for us. They're willing to take on these wild 80s plot point of biker threat, mutant bikers that show up
there. Oh my God. Yeah. She also teaches them that you want people to like you for who you are, not what you can give them. And so we see those things throughout the movie that she kind of tries to impart on them pay off later. But just to finish the conversation about Kelly LeBrock, I thought she was really good in this. Like, she's not known, like she didn't do a whole lot. But Kelly LeBrock is probably most known for this. And her trademark, in addition to her pouty lips and big hair, is her accent. And she was born in New York, but raised in London, which gives her this kind of combination of a London, but also transatlantic accent that nobody has that accent that she has.
Yeah.
It's very specific to her. Now, she is the daughter of a French-Canadian father and an Irish mother, began as a model, lots of magazine covers, and she became one of Eileen Ford's most sought-after models. She did a few things before this, not big things, but then she appeared in Hard to Kill with her then husband, Steven Seagal. So I have no idea why. This is still very perplexing to me that she ever married Steven Seagal and proceeded to have 3 children with him.
I'm so glad you went there. I didn't know if you were saying I have no idea why she was in Hard to Kill or married Steven Seagal. I'm glad you went with the latter.
Seriously, what Kelly, look at you, and then look at Steven Seagal. Now, here is a little crossover with our Willy Wonka episode. When she lost her father, her acting mentor, Gene Wilder, became her surrogate father, and they remained close friends until his death in 2016. Did you guys know that?
I didn't. That's awesome.
And they're in a movie as well, right? Women in Red?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize. I've not seen that. But yeah, that was one of her earlier roles. Okay, that makes sense then.
So she had just done that before this, where those two connect there. So
okay, I can see it a little bit.
Gene's
the
great
influence. She does that straight comedy really well. So.
Mm-hmm.
So Kelly LeBrock also came in late. Kelly Emberg had the original cast.
That's correct.
And by the way, like she's like on the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue in the 80s. She's a model. She's beautiful in her own right. And actually, if you showed me like photos of both of them, I would say there's no need to recast anybody. To Chad's point, it wasn't working. They threw out work that they had done. Much like when you cover Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox didn't have the original casting. And they threw away weeks of work. They threw away because it wasn't working. And they went back and they got Michael J. Fox and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Similar deal here, maybe a little bit less dramatic than having that much budget thrown in the garbage, but still a big deal. And then they went back. They had considered her, but she wasn't really sure she wanted it. So she was like with Sting at the time. I think she was mentioning like just having a good time on the French Riviera.
Yeah.
And so
riding horses. Yep.
Yeah. So they come back and get her. And we talked about Anthony Michael Hall. This movie doesn't work. This movie also clearly wouldn't have worked with the wrong person and the wrong chemistry. So again, that calm, cool attitude that I think being British helps in the role.
Yes.
Again, Kelly Emberg's super pretty, but she's also not British. I mean, there's just the making sure that you get all these things cast perfectly is a big part of why we're still talking about this 40 years from now. And it's not just covered in the sands at times. So Hughes also has a good point. Like he knew something wasn't working and Kelly was the missing ingredient to come back and do this.
The casting was really good.
Yeah.
All around. Since we're on the topic of the casting for Lisa, Demi Moore and Robin Wright also auditioned for the part.
I saw that and I cannot imagine Robin Wright. Maybe Demi Moore, but Robin Wright got Princess Bride, like somewhat close in range to this.
Mm-hmm.
That just doesn't match in my brain.
There's probably other people who could have
confidence, but Kelly LeBrock, her look, her accent, her just aura. Kelly LeBrock was a perfect Lisa, I think. So I'm very glad that they risked the 3 weeks that they filmed with the other Kelly. But yes, you guys, Bill Paxton.
Oh man.
Chet.
Right.
What a character. He made a side character one of the most memorable characters in movie history. It's just amazing.
Again, exaggeration's so important. You have a bad bully military brother. You could write that on paper.
Mhm.
But Paxton dialing it up to 11 is what makes this all work. He's so funny because he's awful. Like, you hate him. Like, you have to hate him, but he's full of exaggeration and absurdity in his own right. He's full of nothing but problems. So, I mean,
Yeah.
but so
For God's sakes, cover yourself.
oh, that was so funny. You know, with the gun in people's faces, like in the morning, and hitting people and like taking his allowance, and I'm gonna tell mom and dad everything. I'm even thinking I might make some stuff up too. But he's great, and what's fun is when you hear the actors talk about Bill, he wasn't that guy at all. Makes it even better.
No.
Bill was a pretty super cool dude. All the young actors really appreciated him. He was not overbearing and telling them what to do, but he was valuable to them as a mentor on the set. Bill was a fun guy to be around, and people liked him. So it's fun when you can see somebody who's so not that turn into somebody who's, he must have met somebody in his lifetime.
Oh, good call.
Who then he is able to channel into this thing, this moment of, I really don't like you and anything about you and how you treat people and walk through the world. And then through the beauty of gift of comedy and acting, he's able to transform that into this thing that can bring joy to so many people.
Like with the cigar and everything, that was very specific,
Yeah. John Hughes has had some sibling trauma or something. I don't know if he has an older brother, but like Buzz in Home Alone, I feel like Chet is worse. And
Chet.
I just have a younger sister, so hopefully I wasn't the Chet in her life. But yeah, he is a ridiculous caricature. But you see these in 80s movies. We have these stereotype bully older siblings. And Bill Paxton is just, he's despicable in the best kind of way. I loved it. And the scene you were referencing where Wyatt shows up in Kelly's underwear and the like halter top or whatever it was, the cutoff t-shirt. Are you wearing women's underwear?
Underpants.
Yeah.
Just the way he speaks, I think the vast majority of my laugh out loud moments were Chet lines. And part of it is like nostalgia for, I literally wrote in my notes a couple of his insults. He says buttwad. He calls him buttwad. He calls him dickweed. He calls him monkey dick. I don't know why, because we don't say those. Like, we have different insults now, and it brought back memories of the 80s and just his laugh, the way he laughs, everything about it. Couple things too that very John Hughesy. Can you guys think of another movie that John Hughes wrote where there's a character named Chet?
Cross reference.
It's not coming to me.
The Great Outdoors.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Chet.
I have seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the first of two movies where Bill Paxton has a brother named Wyatt. What was the other one?
Tombstone.
Yeah. Wyatt Earp.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I always liked, as a little kid, I always thought that the girls, Deb and Hilly, were so cool and so pretty. They're very 80s, like their hair and their makeup and their outfits. I just loved them. Neither of them are like super well known, but Deb is played by Suzanne Snyder. The other things that she was in, she played another Debbie in Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That's Chet's jam. That's his movie.
I've never seen it. Did you recognize her?
No, but that is a movie that somehow gets so much mileage out of one clown joke. Like, you would think it would get really old. I'm going to get this on the show one day. Russell's going to suffer.
And it's Clowns with a K, right?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one more K and it's problematic. But
Yep. Don't do that. She was in Fools Rush In. I can't picture who she was in that. Return of the Living Dead 2, and nothing else I really like. That's about it. And Hilly is played by Judy Aronson. And she was in 3 episodes of Beverly Hills 90210, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and American Ninja. And I saw a picture of her. She looks really good now. Like, she aged very well, the woman who played Hilly.
I've seen all of these horror movie references, but I can't place them. They're just, this is somebody that's disposable body number 3 or whoever Jason is killing.
Yep. Now, this is before Robert Downey Jr. was Robert Downey Jr., but he plays Ian, one of the cool, popular guys. I thought he did a great job in this. What did you guys think of Robert in one of his early roles?
He did, and he just looks the part. I don't know how old he was here, but he always looks slightly older than what he is for this time period. He still has that charm. I wish I had half of that.
He is charming, isn't
charisma. Like, even when he's being a terrible human being, he's got that slick manner of speaking. And I was stunned that he had that energy as a teenager. But yeah, he's great.
I suspect he was in his 20s. He and the guy who played Max, Robert Ressler, they both looked considerably older.
They are older.
Yeah, I didn't look, but I thought they were a great pair. Their duo was really fun. Like, it's that stereotypical, cool, good-looking guy. They're too cool for school. They have the pretty girls. They're dickheads. Really good-looking. I always thought growing up they were both incredibly good-looking. I was a big fan of Max. Like, I still watching this, I'm like, damn, that man is attractive, right?
That's fair.
Robert Ressler is the one that I thought made sense. I might not be a popular choice here, but on our show we have a recast category.
Yeah,
if you're going to recast somebody else and put somebody else in their place, Robert Downey Jr. might be one of the people I considered, because I think Robert Downey Jr. at his heart, and when you talk to him and stuff like that, is probably more akin to play the goofy side of this. He's too old. He's 5 years older than Anthony Michael Hall, I believe, to be in those positions. But I think where you want him in this movie is closer to in the main two boys. I didn't buy him as this jerk as much. I'd like somebody to be a little more physically imposing and,
Okay.
I mean,
Russell's bullies were different. That's how he was traumatized.
Yeah.
I thought Robert Ressler as Max looked like he was 30. Like, he looked like a straight up adult man.
Yeah.
You know?
He's born in 65, and Anthony Michael Hall is born in 68, and Elin Mitchell Smith's 69. So there's not a huge difference between them. There are some physical differences between these human beings, as there can be. But I thought Robert Downey Jr. seemed like the cool new wave kid who didn't care as much. And I think maybe having somebody a little more jock, I'm going to throw him in the trash can and laugh at it with my football buddies, might have been where my head was going with
Needed a Letterman jacket.
I thought so.
That's just too on the nose, man. I don't know. These two, that's fair, Russell. I think I just grew up. I literally started watching this movie when I was very young, and I grew up with those two. So I can't see anything else. But that's fair.
Their bullies were bigger, or at least in our minds. Like, they were much.
Now, Robert Ressler, you guys familiar with him? Know who he is from anything? Yeah, same. He is super dreamy. I did look him up. He was like a semi-professional surfer and skateboarder when he was young.
Checks out.
Yeah. So they moved to LA and he began martial arts
Isn't
career.
Isn't he in one of your favorite franchises though, Chad?
Yes.
He's in Nightmare on Elm Street, right? The 2.
Oh, was he?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which I know I saw Chad wince. He doesn't like Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I was being facetious.
I do not. Yeah, it breaks all the rules.
Does it? Okay. Well, he did get the acting bug. He never became like super famous, but in addition to the Nightmare on Elm Street credits, one of my recent favorite shows is Ray Donovan. And he was in 3 episodes of that as a character named Gus. And now I'm going to have to go back and find out who the heck Gus was. He also plays Tim in the Outsiders TV series.
I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah. And this Weird Science was actually his second acting credit. The very first one was he was in 2 episodes of The Facts of Life. now we have to find out who he was in that too. So that's
Okay.
Robert Ressler, you guys.
Right. Is he still dreaming? Like, is he's...
I didn't look him up, but his IMDb photo, however recent that is, he looks pretty good to me. So I don't know how recent that is.
I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is still stunningly handsome.
Good point. Very good point. I absolutely adored the scene when they go to talk to Gary's parents.
Oh, yes. Lisa.
And Gary's dad, Hal, is played by Britt Leach. And do you guys know what other John Hughes movie he was in?
No.
I'm failing at all these.
The Great Outdoors, also.
I need to brush
I've
up
not
on my
seen this
cast
one.
list for The Great Outdoors. You know, The Great Outdoors is not my favorite John Hughes movie. I liked it when I was
No.
a kid, but I don't feel like it ages as well as you grow up. Like, I feel like it's really solid when you're young. It just doesn't
It's not
have
as
next
Uncle
level.
Buck.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I feel like, yeah. But yeah, we already covered The Great Outdoors on Retromade. So yeah, we talked about some of these characters. I did also see that this Britt Leach was in 3 episodes of Three's Company, playing 3 different people. Each episode, he was a different person. You know how they used to do that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What do you guys think about that scene?
That's my favorite scene. I absolutely love. This is the absurdist humor at the highest point. Lisa pulls a gun, but before any of that happens, the mom, I didn't write down her name, but she is just fantastic. She's so nervous and she's so conservative and oh my and everything. Gary's a good boy, and then Lisa's he just deserves a party. And Gary's just shrinking into the couch, trying desperately to just stop existing. And
After she tells them that he tosses off in the bathroom, and then
Uh-huh.
mom is,
I never do. I'm telling you. Is that why we don't have hot water? Yeah.
I never, Mom.
Uh-huh.
That was pretty funny.
Don't threaten me, Al. You're out of shape. I'll kick your
she can
ass.
just wipe his memory like Men in Black style, and then
Uh-huh.
he can't remember later, and that's a great reoccurring joke of I
Who's
don't
Gary?
know who you're talking about.
Even
She's
in
showing
the
a photo.
final scene, even in the final scene after they're taking the girls home in what was Gary driving? The red Ferrari. And they're in the car, and she's like, oh, look, that's Gary. Who's this Gary character? I love it. The great gag joke.
He got so fed up with it. He's like, I don't know, and I want you to shut the hell up.
They looked like they were like 65. Like, did parents look like that in the 80s?
I feel like it. My mom has somehow gotten younger
Mhm.
as she's gotten older. Get out of those 80s big hairstyles and the perms and everything else. And once they start letting their hair down, okay, all right, now we can have... There's been internet memes all over the place. If this is what somebody looked like in their 50s in 1980, now here's Demi Moore. Okay.
Yeah. 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 Have you guys seen the one of Alice from the Brady Bunch? They just put
No.
a different hairstyle on her, and she looks massively different.
Really?
Like, I think it's the hair.
It is, yeah.
Well, yeah. Now we're going to talk about a couple of the bikers. I mean, this movie's just wild. Lisa, to try and help these guys gain confidence, conjures up these mutant bikers to come so that they can be brave and kind of bring that out in these two. And I don't think they ever said his name, but the credit is Lord General, the biker gang leader. He's played by Vernon Wells. So he's the bald guy that has the gun and the chained to him by the neck like a woman that is somehow like a slave or something.
Yeah.
I mean, this scene is just wild. But I am very unfamiliar with the Road Warrior, like the Mad Max.
Mad Max. Yeah, I've only seen the first one actually, but this is channeling Mad Max 100%.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I guess. Well, he was in that. He basically plays the same character. Apparently, he wears the same makeup, mohawk, mesh tank top, studded leather. He's Australian, obviously, because of the way you can't even take a shower with a lady without wearing your jeans. I just loved it. It was funny. But he was also in Commando, and he has over 250 acting credits, this Vernon Wells.
Wow.
Michael Berryman is the one that stands out to me. The
I was going to
Mhm.
say,
The
this is
bald
where
head.
my franchise.
Yeah, so the mutant biker, there's something, I forget the name of it, but there's a condition that he has that makes him, Michael Berryman, the actor, look that way, the bald biker that
Yeah.
refers to his teaching career as he's leaving. So how do you guys know him?
Hills Have
Hills
Eyes
Have
is
Eyes.
the one. Yeah, that's the one that I
Okay.
know him from. 70s Hills Have Eyes. So that's a good bit before this. He has that face that you don't forget it. So
No.
you'll know him right again.
No.
But to hear him speak was pretty funny, to have that disarming. If you could just not tell anybody about this, I'd appreciate that. I hate for it to
I
be
don't
my
wanna-
teaching job.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the best laugh of the mutant stuff. And again, this movie is absurdist. That movie, there's other times in other movies where that's too much and you've gone too far. But because this is the movie, you've already thrown a nuclear missile going up through the house. We've created the woman with bras on her head. You can go downtown to an all African-American drinking establishment and yeah, sure, let's throw mutant bikers in there too. It's not challenging the reality.
Candy Bar is a great name for a bar too. I enjoyed that.
It is. Just to tie up Michael Berryman. I don't think I've seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but he's in that too.
That's a great movie.
Do you guys remember who he is in that?
Gosh, we covered that a long time ago. It was in our first
To
season.
say,
In fact, Chad.
He's probably just, I don't remember him being an important role, so he's probably just one of the background patients.
Yeah.
I did find the condition. So he has over 114 acting credits, which is wild because he looks very specific, and it's a rare condition called hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia.
Glad you
leaving
said
him
it,
with-
not me.
Yeah. We'll see if anybody is aware of this, if I pronounced it correctly. No sweat glands, hair, fingernails, or teeth. That's really,
I
interesting.
didn't know about the teeth. Yeah.
Didn't know
Yeah,
about the
same.
teeth.
Yeah, but did you guys recognize the guy from the candy bar, the white man from the candy bar, Dino? He had the hat on.
No.
He's also from John Hughes movies, 2 of them.
John Hughes definitely
this
goes back
point,
to his people. Yeah, I mean, John Hughes
I
definitely.
feel like we should say the great outdoors, but
Yeah, he's like he's
not.
like the
It's
like the
not.
Judd Apatow before his time. He gets his
Yep.
people and he keeps coming back to them over and over and
or
over.
the
again.
Adam
And-
Sandlers. Yes.
The actor's name is John Kapelos.
Okay.
Is that helping you at all? He played Carl the janitor in
Oh,
The
that's
Breakfast
right.
Club.
Breakfast Club. Very different.
Yes. And also in 16 Candles, he plays the sister's husband. Like she's getting married.
Mm.
That's who
Okay.
That's who he is. Yeah. Yeah. So we have Ira Newborn here. He did the music, but so he's done a ton of John Hughes movies. Like they collaborate often together. 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Uncle Buck, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But to your point, Russell, that main theme song is done by pop group Oingo Boingo, right? Which was great. I really liked it.
Didn't Danny Elfman say it was the worst thing he's ever done?
He did, but I mean, it's not that it's like, okay. So if you just said, "Here, listen to this song," you do not put it in your ears and say, "This is part of the all-time best 1985 soundtrack," but it's attached to this movie, and it's the right thing for this movie. This movie is absurd. You must have an absurd piece of music. So, I mean, if you were to say what song didn't get in here from the 80s, and I don't know if it had been made yet, Blinded Me with Science would have been a fun thing to have gotten in here.
Ooh, good call.
Also pretty absurd, but, we're having
That's
fun with it.
Yeah, good call. So this movie was successful. It had a budget of $7.5 million and it made $38.9 at the box office. So that's pretty good, I would say.
I love that comedies do well in the 80s. It makes me really happy. Comedies are my
I know.
favorite genre, and they're not being pushed hard right now.
No, it's hard to come by. I agree. Can you guys think of other memorable lines from this movie?
Tons of them. There are so many
Yeah.
great lines in this one. Like I mentioned, I'm going to tell mom and dad everything. I'm even thinking about making some stuff up. I
love
definitely
it.
like that. What do you little maniacs want to do first?
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That's just
So
what-
memorable.
If you say Weird Science, I think of her saying that.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first? Yeah, love it.
I just appreciated the fourth wall break when
Ooh, good call.
I think it was Chet that says the next thing you know, you'll be wearing a bra on your head. And Wyatt just looks like,
They do look at the even at the end, I liked the, you know, this is going to spoil the movie in case you guys haven't seen it this whole 40 years. But at the end, we pan to a gym teacher. We don't see who it is yet, but we pan up this super, super 80s cool outfit. And there's the gym teacher's twirling the whistle and, oh, look, it's Lisa. And she looks at the camera and winks.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Great finish, by the way.
Great what?
Finish.
Yeah, agreed. But getting back to the favorite lines, I liked Chet's insults, and I liked, like, after Chet turns into that weird what was he supposed to be by
Like
the
a frog,
way?
like a really ugly frog.
Yeah.
Like
some kind of Jabba the Hutt hybrid.
Yeah. Weird creature that Chet was. When Gary and Wyatt come back and see him that way, Wyatt's like, we can't have this. It'd ruin Christmas.
That is good.
That was funny.
You brought up one of my other favorites with the, don't you think how incredibly sad your son's only sexual outlet is tossing off to magazines in the bathroom? Oh, Gary. Ma, I never toss off anything.
And then she's like, we're going to a party, a movie party. You know, your standard, how she says it like in such quick succession, like chips, dips, whips, chains,
Yes.
you know, like just a couple hundred teenagers having an orgy or something like that. And then they're like, oh my God. She
like
smoked a joint, I think, even on the couch too.
Yeah, something like that. It
I
was
like
an
the-
opening line for me with Gary, like Wyatt's trying to bring them back, and Gary says, "Why are you messing with the fantasy? We already
good.
know about the reality."
I like
Mhm.
I like his grandma Carmen being in the restaurant saying, let's go in and check on Wyatt. Because if there's
Yes.
anything a teenage boy cares about most, it's his grandparents. And I just thought that about that.
Grandparent. So many. I thought it was actually pretty sweet towards the end too, when the boys get the girls and Gary is having to kind of tell Deb, no, I really like you, because she's like, but Lisa, look at her. And he's like, yeah. Lisa's everything I wanted in a girl before I knew what I wanted. If I could do it again, I'd make her like you. I thought that was sweet.
That
And
is
it's
a
true.
sweet
Like,
line.
it's very typical. Like, they created what a typical teenage boy dreams about. But in reality, they actually want somebody more like that, like more realistic, like Deb, you know, not the perfect looking woman.
Yeah, they're feeding everything into. It wasn't even a scanner; it was like a fax machine. that
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
feeding in all these magazine clippings, the picture of Albert Einstein, because nobody else is smart, I guess. They dial up the intelligence and everything. Yeah, that was an interesting way of doing it. I was telling Katie before I came on the show, I was accustomed to the TV show. Like, I got to that before. So the theme song stuck in my head. That was what they opened the TV show.
It was
Very
the same theme
different.
song, Chad?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, I never saw the TV show. I did like that there was another imaginary Canadian girlfriend that Anthony Michael Hall
yeah.
has. So he had one in Breakfast Club.
She's
He
up
has
in
one here.
Canada. Yeah.
What about your girl up in Canada? And then he talks about her. She kicked me in the nuts, man, at the bar in Chicago.
Yes. Yeah. No, all the people are like, in the jewels or whatever.
Yeah.
their
They're like
response, yeah.
really buying into this story. So Lisa was made from a Barbie doll, drives a pink convertible, just like Barbie.
You mentioned how they were kind of like guiding you to be with somebody that was more like you. You know, she was mentoring them to be with the girls their age. I remember when I was watching this first, I was still, you know, I don't know, I was 16 or something when I saw this. And I actually did, as a kid, it's funny you keep talking about like Kelly LeBrock being like the, you know, I thought Deb was like, kind of like, yeah, I think she's cute. So, you know, when I first saw it, I remember being kind of smitten with the two girls that they were setting them up with, you know, just that's whatever wavelength I was on at the time.
Which makes sense. When you're a kid, you're probably not attracted to an adult. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because Kelly was like You know what I mean?
15-year-old boys.
You
that's-
are, but I mean, at the same time,
Oh,
it's
I
just-
thought you were saying when you were like 10 or whatever watching this.
I think
as
I
opposed
probably
to-
first got it when I was 16, but yeah, like
Oh,
somewhere in
okay.
there. I was probably in high school by the time I took this one in, but I remember thinking I liked them at the time, and Kelly Block was one of those things. It's so 80s. It had changed a little bit. You had to go away from it and come back to it because when I was in high school, the 80s seemed pretty removed at that. I mean, like she's very 80s, and I think with her wardrobe, so like she's extremely cool for the time. And then
particularly with the wardrobe.
Yes, exactly.
Her outfits were amazing.
Yeah.
Like 80s, like for the 80s,
Exactly.
they were really awesome.
And so when I probably took that in, probably give or take around maybe the year 2000 or something like that, that was like super dated at that point. So
Well, I guess I would argue that her actual looks, she had big hair, and
Big
stuff,
hair.
but her makeup was very classic, whereas Deb and Hilly had really 80s makeup.
True.
Like I thought and their outfits were really like, and their hair. I thought Deb and Hilly looked more dated. But
I
I see
agree,
your
yeah.
point. I see your point. I was just about to ask you guys about the gymnastics in this. There have been several 80s movies in high school where they showcase a gymnastics team or doing gymnastics in gym class. That was certainly never a thing at my high school. Was that a thing where you guys grew up? I don't know.
No.
I assume it's regional,
our
but gymnastics.
gym was pretty baseline. Like we didn't have anything fancy at gym time. So
I'll see it was for us. Mary Lou Retton is from West Virginia, so there was a big push of Mary Lou Retton's fitness and a big
Oh.
push of gymnastics. So yeah, that stuck with me. Now we didn't have any of the nice equipment. We didn't have pommel horses or gymnastic teams or anything, but there was a fitness challenge, and it's like a West Virginia pride type thing.
Oh, well, that makes sense if she's from there. But I don't know, like in Footloose, he joins the gymnastics team. There's a team that
Yeah.
competes, like just like football and basketball. There's a gymnastics team in a lot of these 80s movies. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Is that just in movies?
we didn't.
I've never.
We didn't have a gym
Bring it
team in high
on.
school. I don't think. I don't know. I don't remember it being.
No, our high school definitely didn't, but other things have blown up too. Like lacrosse is everywhere, and we didn't have lacrosse.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. So you think it might have just been like a time, like a.
It could
An
be,
80s thing.
yeah, it could be trends or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know.
The Hughes universe takes place in Chicago, where there's way more people and way more funds in their schools. And Chad and I grew up in West Virginia, and our school graduating class was probably somewhere around, I don't know, how big?
222.
Thank you, Chad. So it's a very small high school, and we didn't even have a ninth grade in our high school most of the time that we were there. So I mean,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So no, we didn't. We did not have.
The way he phrased that is just like we had no ninth grade. Now that we had a junior high and then a high
Yeah,
school.
just
It was a different order than middle school and high school. Sixth
Okay.
grade wasn't.
Yep.
Russell we just didn't have a ninth grade. It was West Virginia.
no,
I was like, oh, so you go from 8th to 10th.
no, yes.
We do. We,
Junior high
we
is 7,
can't
8,
count.
9, and the high school. only
No
had 10.
offense, but West Virginians are not known for their high IQs.
We are not.
We're not, but
Not you guys. Not you guys. I'm teasing because, there's jokes about West Virginia. Hey, I'm from Nebraska. We're not much better, but like
Hey, so is my wife's family. Yeah.
tailing the number 46 of 50 state, I assume like in education or whatnot.
The state motto was "Thank God for Mississippi."
Ah, that's funny. Yeah, that sounds about right. Also, super 80s is VCRs as bribery payments.
Oh yes, Jets.
What's it going to cost me? Your VCR ought to do it, ought to cover it or something
That
like
was
that.
probably like $300-400 in 1980s money too.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine how expensive that was.
Mhm.
they get up to dealing with 401ks at some point. So all of you are in your retirement funds.
One thing that didn't make me think twice when I was a kid, but watching it yesterday, the deal that Max and Ian try to make. It's like, you give us a crack at Lisa and we'll let you have Deb and Hilly.
Yeah,
wild.
that's gross.
Yeah.
just
I know.
just gross.
I have friends who traded girlfriends in a very, it
No.
happened. Yeah.
Oh, even in the 2000s. Oh,
Well, just
yikes.
two guys
I
sitting there
don't
like,
think it
I
was-
like your girlfriend better. Why don't we trade without it? Just and it ended up happening. They ended up dating each other's girlfriends or something like that. I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. I was closer to Gary and Wyatt in this movie, so I was sitting there going, "You guys are not being nice."
But I mean, at worst, like with Lisa referring to herself as a sex bot or whatever, like that's just gross in any nature. You have all these, you find inflatable dolls and stuff like that in the woods, and or occasionally you'll see pictures of that. Nobody's reusing that. It's
Oh,
just,
God.
no. So
Oh, God.
it's a creepy thought, and just the girlfriends too. It's like, we'll let you have our girlfriends. No. Ask them.
I thought it was one of those absurdist things where nobody questions it. They're two guys with
maybe.
one older girl, and minus Gary's parents seeming to have a real issue with it. For the most part, there's not a lot of, wait, you're both sharing one girlfriend? How's that work? Nobody even stops to think about
Good
it.
point.
Like, it's just, so you guys are with Lisa then? It's like, yep. And there's just, it's one of those things where it's just one of those, there's so much hand waving going on. You can really get away with an enormous amount of stuff of like little plot holes and things in this. So, I mean,
guess.
I'm not saying that John Hughes wrote inconsistencies into it, but it's really forgiving for those certain things, because the more absurd it is, kind of the more it works.
Yeah, and thank God for that, because oddly enough, a lot of this stuff, like you said, because of the absurd nature of it, because of this, because Lisa's kind of the Mary Poppins figure, like it's not gross somehow, even though they're like, well, Gary and Wyatt share her, but then Max and Ian would like to also share her. And then per 80s usual, just as soon as the parents are about to walk in the door, the house magically comes back together in the nick of time. That's an 80s trope, but I always love seeing it.
Stuff sliding into place just as the door opens, like that dresser or whatever it was, the end table.
Stuff flying back in the chimney, the piano going back together, and yeah.
Yeah, like they're outside and they're not noticing the patio furniture come back in. Do you guys have any additional thoughts from the interview that you shared, Russell? It was probably like 40 minutes. It was the 2019 Awesome Con, and it was a reunion interview of our three main characters. Thank you for sharing that, by the way.
These things are always fun. And I think this one in particular is fun. We don't have John Hughes anymore, so we don't get to hear him talk about it. And so this is how the movie will live on, to hear from them. And they were so young, and movie industry are not always so kind to younger actors. Sometimes they end up being forced to grow up too soon, or they're put into situations that they shouldn't. I mean, you can look at all the tough, teen acting experiences, whether it be Corey Feldman or other people who sometimes they get into stuff they shouldn't, and it's not a good world to really grow up in. But John was a pretty awesome dude. He took them to concerts. He cared about them, their careers. He was a kind of a big brother of sorts. He's not old enough to necessarily be their dad, but there was a big brother mentality. And I don't mean like a Chet big brother. I mean a cool big brother. Like, somebody who he cared about them. He wanted them to succeed. He went back to Anthony Michael Hall more than once. Anthony Michael Hall wanted to break out of that teen geek role, which was detrimental to his career, and he should not have done. He should have rode that train as long and hard as he could have, because his Saturday Night Live career was short, and it doesn't go great for him after that. But John took care of his people and was tight with them. He was really hurt when Anthony Michael Hall didn't want to continue working with him in the future.
Yeah.
He took things deeply personally, so he made friends with these people, even though they were younger than him, and I don't mean that in a creepy way. I mean, he really was an advocate for them. So what I would say is it's cool to see how much he touched those around him and was really, a good leader for the film industry. It's cool to see what a good dude he was and a leader for the film industry. I think at one point they mentioned when you went on to work on other films, maybe you got to look at what it should have been like, or what it could be like. And they did. They all agreed that, the way John, as a director, ran his movie, his set, his cast, his crew, was to a high standard, and that was something that everybody who was there enjoyed their time, and that's not always the case. So when people like that, who have an amazing gift, but they also touch people beyond the screen, John Hughes, special dude. So I know that you've dedicated a whole season to him. It helps an awful lot when the people who worked with him, their careers are made by them. They appreciate them. I kind of made the parallel to like Judd Apatow. Judd's kind of like that. He built these people's careers up, and he comes back to them again and again and appreciates them and cares about their success. And there's something really special about how they as a group did that. And John did that for his group too, whether it be Anthony Michael Hall, Molly Ringwald, or, just all the Brat Pack.
Yeah, those two in particular were his muses, and I think that there was a falling out after. So what about you, Chad? Was there anything that you took away in particular from the reunion interview?
I felt a little bad because the interviewer starts off on kind of a bad note, and Anthony Michael Hall responds. He has this visceral response because she just frames it as, "This is creepy," and explain yourselves. And he talks about it, and he talks about the environment, and how you probably can't do it now, but that there was no like creepy feeling on the set. It's a different time. He does talk about the shower scene, and he just talks about how they couldn't stop giggling, like they were just laughing and having fun. And Kelly LeBrock, I was there in pasties, and it was awkward because we couldn't get them to stop until John pulled them aside and was like, "Hey, we gotta move on." But I mentioned it earlier, and just everyone seemed to have fond memories. There wasn't anyone complaining about hellish days. There wasn't anyone complaining about getting screamed at or berated. The closest thing to it was Robert Downey Jr. and Max. One of them famously used the bathroom in a trailer, and so John Hughes pulled the cast over and goes one by one and says, "Was it you? Was it you?" And Robert Downey Jr. says, "I wish it was me." So they got a talking to, but even Robert Downey Jr. after that incident said, "Hey, we got along. We had a good relationship." So there was a sense of professionalism and fun. But all the stories, Kelly LeBrock just seemed to have a great time and just have a fondness for the two boys.
She ages really well, by the way.
She does.
Yeah.
Well, she's gone through. She looked really good in that. That was 2019, but she's had a fair amount of work done. I can tell,
Okay.
and you can definitely, because she had the most gorgeous lips naturally, and now she has had some nip tucking, but also I can't stand it when women put those fillers in their lips because it's such a fake look. But she does. She looks. I hate to. Because I did whatever.
She pointed out she's lovely. A grandma in it, so that's not your image of a grandma.
I don't look too bad for a grandma. But she did get a little heavy at one point because there was a show like Celebrity Big Loser or something like that. There was like a show that she was on.
Did not know that.
She got, as happens, but I thought she looked really lovely in that too. I think the one thing that I thought was really, well, there were a lot of great stories, but I think Island shared that there was a scene when they were in the blue kitchen, and it wasn't a particularly funny, like they were just trying to do the scene, and John Hughes reaches over and grabs one of the blue potato chips because everything in the kitchen was blue, and ate it. And they were like, "John, that's like a spray painted chip." And he's like, "Anything for a laugh," pointing to the fact that John Hughes was, he wanted to find humor in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
The Michael Hall's, I think, wonderfully. I think somebody at one point called him a comedic genius. He goes, "I'm an out-of-work actor." So, I think he knows. Yeah,
he jokes about like an awkward phase on film, but he's like, "Hey, the checks are good, or the checks keep coming, or something like."
Yeah, good residuals.
I think he knows that he steered his career in a way, or didn't make that transition from young actor to adult actor. So many haven't, And I think he has a good, healthy attitude about it. He can laugh at himself. He seems like he's not famous anymore. You could walk down the street and not know it's him, but he seems healthy about it. Like he doesn't seem bitter or stuck in the past or anything like that. He can laugh at himself. So he is still funny.
He is. Yeah. I thought that there's both praise, quote unquote, and a fair amount of criticism from critics for this movie. I don't know if you caught any of the response.
The split between Siskel and Ebert.
Yes.
Was it Ebert that...
Ebert liked it. Siskel didn't.
Yeah.
So Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars, called LeBrock wonderful in her role, thought that as a result, the film was funnier and a little deeper than the predictable story it might have been without Kelly. Gene Siskel gave it a 1.5 stars out of 4 and wrote, "What a disappointment Weird Science is. A wonderful writer-director has taken a cute idea about 2 teenage Dr. Frankensteins creating a perfect woman by computer and turned it into a vulgar, mindless, special effects cluttered wasteland." I vastly disagree, Gene Siskel. I
Yeah.
don't think it was vulgar at all.
Well, Ebert even pulled him aside at one point and basically said, "Chill out. Like,
Oh,
it's a
really?
fun movie, and
Yeah.
you are sounding so stuffy right now." And so I thought that was a good take.
Sheila Benson of the LA Times described, again, LeBrock as triumphant and the film's greatest asset, but thought that the film's appeal was limited to audience of 15-year-old boys and maybe the 16-year-olds if they aren't yet too fussy.
Yeah, that's a weird comment. Kelly LeBrock is beautiful in any age demographic, and obviously, you said it's one of your favorite movies.
That's why I disagree. I mean, I'm not a 15-year-old boy, and I've always loved this movie. Rita Kempley of the Washington Post wrote, "Unbelievably, John Hughes, the maker of 16 Candles and the Breakfast Club, writes and directs this snickering, sordid, special effects fantasy with Kelly LeBrock in a demeaning role as love slave to a pair of 15-year-olds. I think they missed the point of the movie. I don't know. I guess it's hard for me to be unbiased because I do have I really, 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 and maybe it's nostalgia, but I think this movie is really well done and good in all of the ways that you want a movie like this to be.
I can see where they'd miss that train, though. It's easy to miss, and it's easy to go down that lane. And part of me was thinking, oh no, we're doing this, and I haven't seen it in 20 years. Is this going to be the territory it lands on of just pure male fantasy? And obviously that's part of the point of this movie, but like most things John Hughes does, there's a greater point, and it's restoring the confidence. And I love that most of the reviews, even the negative ones, are saying Kelly LeBrock is great. Like, she is. Russell said Anthony Michael Hall's Gary is the linchpin in this movie. She's my MVP. I think it falls apart without her. And
I agree, Chad. She got
just
all
wonderful.
teary-eyed at the end. I don't know. I really thought she was wonderful in this. And it's kind of sad. I think her marrying what's-his-face kind of ruined her career. I don't know.
Seagal, I can see that. Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
Hollywood isn't always so kind to the female actresses after they get over a certain age either. So, your time in the spotlight is often short when you're there for being a really
Very good
beautiful
point.
person. So, yeah.
Yeah, she was only 24.
Yeah.
The actress, yeah. So
I bet
there was a TV series that Chad saw based on this film. It ran for 88 episodes. I did not realize, from 94 to 98.
It did. It's a little different. It was almost like an I Dream of Jeannie style, where I can't remember the girl's name, but she granted wishes. Basically,
Vanessa Angel.
Yeah, she granted fantasies and things like that, but they would have convenient durations. They would wear off. And so her powers would grow or shrink depending on whatever the episode was. But it was usually almost like a monkey's paw type wish, where the boys would wish for something. She'd give it to them, and, hijinks ensue. But that was my first, I guess, encounter with Weird Science. And so I had that theme song, the Oingo Boingo theme song, stuck in my head, and then got to this one. It's like, oh, it was based off of an actual movie. Yeah.
That's
very
an interesting
different.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I kind of don't want to watch the TV series, but it's interesting that you saw that first.
It's cute.
I kind of prefer just to keep when you fall in love with certain characters and stuff like that, the TV to movie transition often doesn't work for me. There's a Fugitive TV show, and apparently it was really successful. I just don't want to go back and see it because Harrison Ford's my Fugitive. It's just like, when you find these characters and stuff like that, I don't really want that other version so much. Like, there's an Odd Couple TV show. I was told it was good. I just never wanted to go back and do it again because I really like Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon. And no matter how good somebody else is doing it, those are not the characters that you have watched do it.
Counterpoint, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like the TV series is infinitely better than the movie.
I have
They're
heard
totally
that, Chad.
different.
I have not seen Buffy, the TV
Ooh.
series, but I got to tell you, I loved
I was going to say,
the Christy Swanson movie.
It's
Love-
fun.
They're different.
It is very fun, but Sarah Michelle
Yeah.
Gellar is just, she's my
Yeah.
Buffy.
Okay. Hey. So, you know, we were talking about the very 80s fashion, the jacket that Kelly LeBrock wore in that mall scene, you know?
Yeah.
She has the tube top on with the long denim skirt. It was sold to Dina Collection, a pawn shop in Beverly Hills, for $25,000.
and it's the best $25,000
That's not too
Chad has
bad.
ever spent.
Yeah.
Oh, guilty.
Bill Paxton ad-libbed a line that he got from his dad when he says, "How about a nice greasy pork sandwich served in a dirty ashtray?" That was something that his dad used to say to him when he was hungover from a night of drinking. I thought that was hilarious.
Weird thing to say to someone.
We talked about Saturday Night Live. Anthony Michael Hall did not stay for an entire season, and neither did fellow Weird Science co-star Robert Downey Jr. They were on the same season, and neither of them lasted the whole season.
You can't get a lot of clips from the 80s on that cast, but I want to say it's hard to... they didn't get long enough to find their feet on the show. They seem awkward in the things that I have seen from them on there, so maybe it would have worked out had they stayed longer, but it wasn't a natural fit, I don't think. It was a weird time for SNL. Lorne Michaels,
It was.
hadn't come
it
back
was.
to save things yet.
Oh, there was a cut scene, and I'm really glad they cut it because I don't like this. I don't know if you guys heard this, but in the final cut of the film, Max and Ian are last seen fleeing the party when the bikers invade. A follow-up scene was shot in which multicolored clouds engulf them, and they transform into a pig and a donkey. They then bend over to see their reflections in hubcaps of a car, and their tails rip through the seats of their pants.
That is some
Yeah.
Pinocchio stuff.
I don't need it.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Glad they removed that. Yeah. Trying to think, you guys. I think this actually does and it doesn't hold up. I'm actually kind of in the camp that it holds up in the way that we should view this 1985 film. But I do find it a super fascinating time capsule of 1985, equal parts bonkers and brilliant. You guys, Russell, Chad, I always have such fun podcasting with you guys and talking movies, especially retro movies. Do you have any final thoughts about this movie? And then tell us maybe what we can look forward to on your show, or tell us where we can find you.
Chad, you want to go first?
I think I think I would be fascinated just for somebody that didn't grow up in the 80s. Like, you show a Gen Z person or whatever the generation after them, are we back to Alpha or whatever it is, show them this movie and see what it does. Does the comedy still hold up, or are we just unable to forgive some of the things? Because we're starting to see generative AI doing some of the things that this movie has insinuated, and it's creating interesting legal areas. With the rise of ChatGPT, I think it's kind of circling around to ethics and relevance. And I'd be fascinated to see somebody that hasn't lived through the 80s just comment on this and say, hey, we watched Weird Science. It held up for me. I can see the similarities. Or they just say, this is sexist garbage and we're done with the male fantasy. We don't want this at all. I hope it's not the latter. I think, especially for Kelly LeBrock, being able to teach these boys respect for themselves and also how to respect the two girls they're trying to impress. Like, they're never going down that road of the bullying road that Robert Downey and Max are going through. So I think it holds up. I understand. I think I might be in the both lanes with you, Katie. I could see where somebody might not, but I hope somebody would still enjoy this movie, even if they say this is on the lesser end of John Hughes' catalog. It's not as great as The Breakfast Clubs, and it's not as great as 16 Candles or anything else that he's done.
So you're saying it's no baby's day out, Chad?
We're going to get that on the podcast one day. That is my grandfather took me to that movie when I was very, very young. I had no concept of John Hughes. And,
Well, maybe you should come back and cover it with me, Chad, because we're covering it on Retromade. It's a John Hughes movie.
My grandfather clung to the line. It was like, you thumb-sucking, milk-drinking puker or something like that. And he would just quote it over and over. He was just tickled to death with that. So that's a very fond memory for me of a terrible movie. But yeah, I would love to cover Baby's Day Out. Us and Dustin, who's another one of our hosts. Dustin has often joked of getting Baby's Day Out on the... If Russell won't allow it, we will happily talk about it with you.
Well, I think this movie is one of those things where if you're going to poke holes at it and just say the male fantasy is not something we want anymore, there are going to be people who can't get around it and just say this sexist garbage. But I think that would be short-sighted because I think it does hold up pretty well because of everything we've talked about. There's growth in the characters. The performances are funny. There's things that, whether it's taking underage kids out drinking and then driving while drunk, that you wouldn't do today. Maybe, some of the humor of Anthony Michael Hall's diction is funny in his performance. Now people would say that that's offensive and things like that. So you're going to have to shift this a few degrees if you were ever to remake this. Having said that, I still think it is funny. I think if you showed it to people, I think a lot of the times people will watch something now that you couldn't, quote unquote, you could never make this today. And everybody sits there and still has a really fun time watching it. And so I think that's what I would say is culturally, what does that mean for us? When we say we won't make something that we will sit there and watch that was made 20 years ago and then laugh at it and enjoy it. So I think comedy is at an interesting point in time too. So I guess this is a long way of saying, I think for some it might not hold up, but in terms of it is still really good. And I'm closer to Ebert on this one. Ebert probably has a big soft spot in his heart because it's a Chicago... Hughes is a Chicago dude. He goes to bat for Chicago. Ebert's a Chicago dude. That's your local boy. This isn't an LA guy. And so Ebert is 100% probably just being biased and supporting his, Windy City, creator. And that's okay. Because I also like Chicago and I like John Hughes and I'm willing to root for the body of work and this is included in it. So yeah, I think Weird Science holds up refreshingly well. I was scared to come back to it because I was sitting there going like, I'm 40, when you're a teenager, this is really exciting, fast cars, driving at the mall, getting girls and all this stuff. And we're remarkably simple, but you know what? I think it did hold up as a 40-year-old here.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, both very well said, you guys. And Retromade listeners, I think you should go check out Russell and Chad on the Retro Movie Roundtable, wherever podcasts are found, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can connect with us on Facebook, Spotify, iTunes, just wherever you can download your podcast. We like fan interaction, so we've had some good back and forth on Facebook. Message us, email us at retromovieroundtable@yahoo.com. We love movies. We love guests. We love talking about movies. So let us know if there's a movie we haven't covered out of the 300 some. And if you want to talk about it, great. We'd love to meet you.
Awesome. And I'll be joining them soon. So you better, get the feel for their style of podcast before you go listen to mine. If you have thoughts about this episode, if you have thoughts about any other episodes, any upcoming John Hughes movies that we'll be covering, questions, or maybe you have your own lightning-powered experiments to share, like Weird Science, drop me a line. Otherwise, I will see you next time, hopefully with fewer bras on heads. And until next time, be kind, rewind.